BabyBus.
Cinderella. Once upon a time, in the faraway Western world, there lived a beautiful girl called Cinderella. She lost her mother when she was very little, so she lived alone with her father in a big house. Her father was a businessman and often had to travel far away for work, so Cinderella was left alone in the big house. One day, Cinderella's father came home.
Dear daughter, I have some good news. You'll have a new mother now.
New mother?
Cinderella did not understand. She looked at the door and saw that there was a woman standing beside her father. She was wearing a bright red dress covered with lace, and there was a ruby necklace around her neck.
I'm going to marry her, and she'll become your stepmother. She brought her 2 daughters who will become your sisters, and we'll all be a family.
A few days later, Cinderella's father left on another business trip. Not long after her father's carriage left, her stepmother and sisters showed their evil intentions.
Cinderella, you don't need to wear a nice dress. Put on shabby old clothes instead, because you're going to do all the household chores.
Cinderella, go to the living room and clean the floor at once. Then make us lunch.
Cinderella took great care and prepared a table full of delicacies. There was a pork roast, fried chicken drumsticks, cream cakes, soups, and orange jelly. But her stepmother and stepsisters were not pleased.
You naughty girl! Your pork roast is awful. It's as cold as ice and as hard as rock.
I never eat chicken drumsticks without ketchup.
I'm warning you, Cinderella. If your food still tastes this bad tomorrow, I'll make you sleep with the mice.
Along with all the cooking duties, Cinderella also had to buy groceries, mop the floor, clean the windows, do laundry, empty the trash, and do the dishes. It was late at night when she finally finished her chores. Only then could she go to her dusty loft and cover herself with a torn blanket, sobbing as she thought of her mother.
Mom, if only you were still alive.
Cinderella had a lot of chores to do every day. Her beautiful hair and face were always covered with dust, so everyone called her Cinder Girl. A few months later, a letter came from Cinderella's father.
My dear daughters, I'll be home soon. Write and tell me what presents you want me to bring you.
The older stepsister jumped up happily. She wrote,
Dear father, I want 100 pieces of milk chocolate.
The younger sister also screamed happily. She wrote,
Dear father, I want 100 pearl necklaces.
Cinderella was quiet for a moment, then wrote,
Dear father, I only want a sapling.
Ha ha ha! What a joke. A sapling? You can't eat it or wear it. What's it for?
That's right. What a silly girl.
Her 2 stepsisters laughed at Cinderella, but Cinderella wanted to plant this sapling at her mother's grave so that it could keep her mother company. Cinderella's father came home and brought her a sapling. She planted it at her mother's grave. Whenever she missed her mother, she ran to the grave and had a good cry. Her tears watered the sapling, and it grew bigger and bigger. One day, as Cinderella was scrubbing the floor, her older stepsister came into the room joyfully, holding a piece of paper in her hand.
Come see this! We received a notice saying that the king wants to hold a ball for the prince, and the most beautiful girl at the ball will become the prince's bride. I must go to the ball. I'm so beautiful. I'm sure the prince will fall in love with me. Mother, I want to wear the most beautiful gown.
Yes, you really are a natural beauty. You'll be the most beautiful girl at the ball.
I want to go to the ball too. I'm slimmer and taller than you. When I put on my diamonds and jewelry, I'll be the most dazzling girl at the ball. Mother, I want to wear the most expensive necklaces and jewelry.
Yes, I'll make sure both of you are dressed up beautifully for the ball.
Cinderella said with her head bowed.
Can I go to the ball too?
What? Cinderella said she wants to go to the ball. That's the biggest joke I've ever heard. Look at you, with such a dirty face and shabby clothes. How could you go to the ball?
But the notice says every girl in the kingdom can go. Please let me go too.
All right then. If you can find a gown fit to wear to the ball, I'll let you go.
The day of the prince's ball arrived. That night, the two stepsisters put on the most splendid gowns and the most extravagant jewelry, and they took the carriage to the palace. Watching her stepsister's carriage drive farther and farther away, Cinderella was very sad. She returned to her loft, and tears rolled down her face.
I don't have a beautiful gown. I can't go to the prince's ball.
Don't cry, Cinderella. I can help you to go to the ball.
Cinderella heard a strange voice in the loft. She saw a fairy with sharp eyes standing on the windowsill.
Who are you?
I'm a tree fairy. You watered me with your tears.
How can you help me?
The tree fairy whistled. Two birds carrying a beautiful gown in their beaks flew over, and a squirrel, carrying a pair of gleaming crystal slippers in its mouth, scampered along behind them.
This is the simple magic of mine, but it only lasts a few hours. You have to come back before midnight, or the magic will vanish, and your gown will turn back into torn, shabby clothes.
Cinderella put on the gown and the crystal slippers. She looked really beautiful in the aqua blue gown, adorned with sapphires on the sleeves. A purple bow was tied at her waist, and the skirt was inlaid with colorful diamonds. Her crystal slippers were only partly visible under the skirt.
Oh, my sweetie, you're more beautiful than the most beautiful princess in the world. The ball is starting soon. Hurry, my princess.
The tree fairy waved her arms, turning a pumpkin in the kitchen into a carriage. The carriage glittered, and Cinderella felt like she was sitting on a cloud inside the carriage. The tree fairy closed the door for Cinderella, reminding her,
Hurry, my princess. You must remember to come back before midnight. Midnight, remember that.
Okay, I'll remember to hurry back before midnight.